At 1446 JST on the 11th March 2011, Japan was hit by what is now called the Great East Japan Earthquake. The earthquake lasted 6 full minutes and caused a devastating tsunami. It is considered the most powerful earthquake in Japanese history since 1900, as well as the fourth most powerful earthquake in the world. In 2021, the officials concluded that 19,747 deaths were recorded, 6,242 were injured, and 2,556 people went missing. The tsunami resulted in the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster, which in turn caused a discharge of radioactive water in Fukushima, affecting hundreds of thousands of residents. How did the Japanese react to such devastating disasters? Enter Gaman. During and after the earthquake, most Japanese demonstrated extreme resilience and civility in the face of incredible disaster and decay. Derived from Buddhist practice, Gaman means enduring the seemingly unbearable with patience and dignity. David Slater, professor of anthropology and director of the Institute of Comparative Culture at Tokyo's Sophia University, describes Gaman as a set of strategies to deal with events outside our control. Individuals develop within themselves an ability to persevere and tolerate things that are unexpected or bad, difficult to get through, he says. For centuries, Japanese culture has been described as possessing a deep sense of Gaman. Buddhist practices are considered Gaman, as well as the samurai orders, thought to be filled with a sense of Gaman. However, as we are going to see, Gaman bears several meanings, and some of them have a darker interpretation. The Tale of the Heike is an epic tale of the 1300s that tells of the struggle for power between the Taira, or Heike, and Minamoto, or Genji houses in the late 12th century. Taira's subsequent defeat in 1185 and the establishment of a new warrior government by the victorious Minamoto marked the beginning of the medieval age in Japan. The Tale of the Heike is written in the genre of Gunki Monogatari, military tales, and contains many of the themes of samurai ethics and values. Personal loyalty to one's lord, negation of the self, self-sacrifice unto death, an austere and simple life, control of the appetites and emotions, and an honorable death. According to many experts, the Tale of the Heike embodies the dual meaning of Gaman. The tale can be interpreted in two ways. On one hand, the tale is a story of heroism, courage, power, glory, and sacrifice. Those who prefer this interpretation glorify the heroic spirit and paint war and death as beautiful and bearable. On the other hand, others focus more on the Buddhist aspects of the story and themes such as duty, dharma, impermanence, and fate. The Tale of the Heike symbolically opens with the following words. The sound of the Jian Shoja bells echoes the impermanence of all things. The color of the salat flowers reveals the truth that the prosperous must decline. The proud do not endure, they are like a dream on a spring night. The mighty fall at last, they are as dust before the wind. If you choose the heroic interpretations, then by Gaman you are referring to endurance, but if you are more in favor of the Buddhist interpretation, that this quote clearly demonstrates that endurance is a reaction to impermanence. One thing is clear enough, endure the unbearable because the proud do not endure. A Western samurai. Although an image of a samurai is always conjured when talking about Gaman, in the West, the concept is more closely related to the philosophy of Stoicism. In ancient Greece and Rome, the Stoics believed that in life we are constantly bombarded by disappointments and sufferings. The real Stoic can endure the troubles of life by cultivating a sense of serenity and peace of the mind. They proposed for people to become like a rock against the sea, always crashed by the waves, but unmoved by the raging sea or the troubled weather. Blind obedience. In its essence, Gaman leads to perseverance of the spirit, but taken to its extremes, it can also stand for blind obedience. In Japan, there is a culture of rule following and respecting the authorities. Cultivating a spirit of endurance can be misinterpreted as enduring everything and anyone. A related term called Gaman refers to compliance with conformity. Many Japanese are raised from a very young age to respect the elderly and to keep their peace of mind. When this spills into conformity, people might feel trapped into a life they didn't want, but have to endure due to circumstances. Children are instructed into Gaman very early. They learn by parental example. Patience and perseverance are also part of education, starting in primary school. Women are especially educated in Gaman. It can manifest over the long term, like staying in an unpleasant job or tolerating an annoying colleague, or short term, like ignoring a noisy passenger or an elderly queue jumper. Many interpret this as a form of blind obedience. In order to avoid feeling stuck in a state of eternal endurance, one has to acknowledge that each life experience has its difficulties, but not every difficulty is necessary. When starting a new job, it is expected that there would be a period of adaptation and learning where obstacles might arise. However, a demanding boss or competitive colleagues shouldn't be tolerated. Similarly, in personal relationships, we are always making compromises. You might want to spend a month vacationing in Italy, while your partner might prefer a quiet vacation in the Swiss Alps. One side always has to endure the choice of the other. When more difficult situations arise, such as financial troubles or arguments over parental style, it is important not to keep your head low, but instead courageously make your point clear, so that your relationship remains honest and truthful. Gaman shouldn't be cultivated only during earthquakes, wars, or pandemics, but in the nuances of daily life. Practice patience the next time you wait for the waiter to bring your morning coffee. Do something for a loved one that requires some labor and attention. Start small and build up to reach the full state of Gaman. The main point is to always remain calm and collected, but never at the price of one's own integrity and peace of mind. Life shall be difficult, but suffering could be optional. Pick your battles wisely.